Hey, you guys, it's Takara here. I want to do a quick live training on how much do Facebook ads cost. So one of my cameras is set up horizontally for YouTube and for the blog, and the other one is set up vertically for the IGTV live. Kind of fun. This is how you batch your content. So in my SEO research, I was looking into, just certain topics we could talk about. It's always a great thing to do. I use SEMrush, there's Ahrefs, there's Kissmetrics, there's so many other tools you can use, keywords everywhere, to decide what type of content you want to produce so you make the most out of your time. And one of the questions that keep coming up over and over again is, how much do Facebook ads cost? And it's a really good question. And it's a loaded question too, because there's actually no right or wrong answer. So the best way to dissect this is, how do we work our way backwards from the results that we want to achieve with our Facebook ads? Because Facebook ad costs depend on many different factors. What's your campaign objective? Are you trying to get traffic? Are you trying to get engagement? Are you trying to get a conversion, a purchase conversion? What type of conversion? Are you looking for leads? Are you looking for purchases? Are you looking for add to carts? I mean, everything is a factor here. Is it a highly competitive audience? Are people taking the action you want them to take on your ad? Do you just want a video view? Every single different objective that you're trying to create, how big your audience is, how competitive your audience is, how difficult it is to find them. All of those things come into play when we're talking about how much should it cost to run Facebook ads. So I always say, hey, here's a better question. What kind of results are you trying to get? Let's work our way backwards in how much we should be spending on our Facebook ads. Can you run ads on $5 a day? Sure. But what are you trying to sell, right? Because whatever you're trying to sell, it depends on how much that costs. If I'm trying to get leads, meaning email addresses, people to opt into something. Just kind of saying hi to everyone. Hi, you guys. If I'm trying to get leads, and in my industry, a lead can cost anywhere from 50 cents for a giveaway in e-commerce, all the way up to $50 for a $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 course or service, right? So this is such a loaded question, and it really depends on many different factors. So let's go into e-commerce, okay? Facebook ads, e-commerce, that's my jam for the most part. But we do have some lead ad clients or lead gen clients, and we do have some SaaS clients. But let's say I'm trying to run Facebook ads for e-commerce. Hey, you guys. And if you have any Facebook ad questions and costs and what you should be looking out for, please let me know. Now, I always love to use the example of a $75 average order value, because I think that's a pretty good one for most e-commerce. I also think that that's about the minimum you need to have as an average order value in order to be profitable on Facebook with Facebook ads, because the average cost per purchase, at least in the US, is going to range anywhere between $20 and $35, for example, with a Facebook ad. And so if you want to get 3x, an average of $25 per purchase, and your purchase conversion value is $75, that's a good goal, right? That's when we can start getting a 3x return on our ad spend. If your average order value is $50 or so, it's going to be really hard for you to be profitable on Facebook. So with that being said, how much can I spend? So one question is, okay, you can spend up to, depending on all your costs and all your overhead, one way to dissect this is to say, well, you can pay up to whatever amount it is until you stop being profitable. So you could take into account the cost per purchase on the Facebook ad, $25, your cost of goods sold, your overhead, your shipping, everything when it's all said and done. Hi, you guys. How are you? Please ask me any questions you have on Facebook ads. Hey, John. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Eddie. Hey, you guys. Hey, Kevin. All of you guys. So good to see you. So what you can do is say, okay, I can pay for up to that cost per purchase, right? If it's like e-commerce, and I can add all my cost of goods sold. Let's say my cost of goods sold are an additional $25. So now I've paid $50 total. Let's say that also includes an ad agency covering, paying an ad agency to run these marketing, honey. Hey. Okay, so I paid $50 out of pocket. I actually am profitable, 25 bucks. At the end of the day, that's what I made. Okay, that's good. You can pay that, right? So that's where we start talking about how much can I run on Facebook ads and how much can I spend. Now, let's say you're doing lead gen. Let's say you are a dentist. I'm using a random example here. You are a dentist and you're trying to get leads into your office for teeth whitening, right? And you have to start working your way backwards. Let's say that teeth whitening service is $100, okay? And let's say you have, at the very simplest kind of calculation here that I'm making up as I'm going through this. So if you have any Facebook ad questions very specific to your business, make sure to put them in there. Let's say you are getting leads at $1 each. And of those 100 leads, it's going to cost you $100, simple math. You're selling a $100 service. And let's say 3 out of every 100 actually end up purchasing. Well, you spent $100, you sold 3 $100 services, you made 300, you 3x'd your ad spend, right? And then you can go ahead and delete from there cost of goods sold, right? The cost to actually do the teeth whitening, to book them, your staff, your ad agency services, et cetera, et cetera. You might end up having costs of an additional $100. So you spent $200, you made $300, so you profited $100, right? So that's another way to look at it. Now, how can we make our ads more profitable? How can we say, hey, what if we instead got 5 people to convert versus 3 people to convert? How do we do that? At that point, it comes down to conversion rates, right? So at that point, it comes down to if I, on average, convert, if I want to bring up that 3 people converting versus to 5 people converting out of every 100, what am I going to need to do that? Well, my landing page is going to need to convert at a higher rate, right? So wherever I'm taking them is going to have to convert higher. Justin, hey you guys. Or the post lead process, right? So if I'm not closing the deal on the phone with my office staff, I need a better salesperson on that call, right? So these are the little things that we start to look at. If ads are only one part of the overall funnel for your business, the overall what's going on. If you're in e-commerce, and let's say again, your cost per click is $1, right? And 1 out of every 100 people are going to convert, which remember, conversion rates on e-commerce websites are, if you have a good website, maybe 4%. So 4 out of every 100, that includes your warm audience, so warm and cold. So let's say 4 out of every 100 people are going to convert, but that's assuming some of those have already been marketed to. You've already spent money, they're already on your email list. You've already kind of gotten them in your door. If 4 out of every 100 people you are sending ads to in your warm audience are actually converting, that click over, it costs you $1 per click for them. Let's just do simple math here, right? So it costs you $100 to get to them. 4 converted at an average order value of $75. That's again $300 for $100 spent. You 3 extra costs. So these are all the things that we're thinking about. So again, how much do I need to spend on Facebook ads? Well, it's all relative. Now, at that point, let's say, day in, day out from your analytics, 4% of your warm audience are going to convert no matter what, right? On average, that's what's going on. You have your Google ads. Do you guys like this, by the way? Except for that. So let's say like day in, day out, on average, you can count on 4% of everyone that you send your ads to at a warm audience to actually convert. So then how do you get your costs down at that point? Well, number one, this is hilarious. Look at that. Number one, you would want to decrease your cost per click, right? So if I'm paying $1 per click, and let's say I need to look at the other factors going on in my ad account. The biggest one that's going to affect that is probably what's called CPM. I don't want to get too geeky on you guys. Hey, Mike. So many of you. Will you ask your questions, you guys? I'm here to help. Margaritaville, hello. So then the other factors I need to look at as a smart marketer are the technical sides of my ads, which means I need to have my reporting set up correctly. I need to be looking at things. One of the biggest things that affect a lot of our clients is something called CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. And so what that means is if I have a very highly an audience that is very expensive to get to. So let's say it's a highly competitive audience. That's going to cost me more, right? More people are trying to get to them. Usually women have higher CPMs than men, for example. Targeting remarketing audiences are higher CPMs because it's harder for Facebook to find them. They're also a higher value audience to you. Higher income audiences, very specific narrow audiences, layered audiences. So they must live in the US. It must be a woman between the ages of 25 to 30 who also likes this brand. And then further that she's a parent, right? That kind of narrowing of your audience is going to cost you more. It tends to, it's just harder. It's hard. It's a more narrow niche audience. It's competitive. It's hard for Facebook to find them. So ways to decrease your CPM, so your ad cost to get to 1,000 impressions, is to, number one, try to kind of open up that targeting a little bit. So instead of you just narrowly targeting 7-day website visitors, if you don't have a lot of traffic, you might open that up to 14 days or 30 days, right? That might decrease your CPMs, make it easier for Facebook to find your audience, which in turn will lower your cost per click. The other way, of course, is to change out your creative. So change out your images, change out your videos, change out your ad copy. This can be a gigantic difference. For example, we have one client where we just lowered the cost 60% per click, just by simply changing the video and the ad copy. 60%. So think of that. On $1, instead of paying $1 a click, you're paying 40 cents a click. Now think of, if you really do the math, right? So for every $100 I'm spending, I'm getting like 200 plus people now, 220 or something. I'm doing my math wrong, but something like that, 225 people on the site. Now, 8 of those people will convert from my warm audience if I have a 4% conversion rate. 8 at $75 each is what, $600? So instead of me making $300 for every $100 I spent, I just increased that to $600. I did nothing else. I didn't spend any more. I just made my creative better. That's all I had to do at that point. Or I opened up my audience targeting to lower my CPMs, right? These are ways in which you can manipulate the system, okay? Don't let Facebook ride you, you ride Facebook, okay? The other way to do it is, it depends on the conversion you're trying to get. So if I'm trying to get a purchase, of course, Facebook knows that's a high value conversion. They're going to charge me more for it, right? Because I have a chance to get a higher quality benefit out of that. So when I'm optimizing for purchases, that CPM is higher. That cost per click is higher. So what you might do if you're on a limited budget to get the most out of it is start going down that conversion ladder. Instead of optimizing for purchase, optimize for add to cart. Optimize for initiate checkout, optimize for view content, because the lower the quality of the conversion, the lower the ad will cost to actually run it. So if you have a lower budget, what you could do is you can run some traffic ads, just get some traffic on your site, right? Get it affordably, get a click affordably, then retarget at that point your website visitors, open it up to like 30 days if you need to, and that should lower your overall costs. Doesn't mean you'll get as many purchases, but at least it'll get your Facebook pixel kind of up and running and doing its thing and jamming out, okay? So I hope that was helpful. Know that your Facebook ad costs depend on so many different factors: your industry, your niche, your audience, your objective, how relevant it is to the audience, if it's an engaging ad, what platform you're advertising on, how much freedom you're giving the Facebook algorithm to kind of run your ads, right? What the overall goal of the ad is, who the audience is, so that what your industry is. So there's so many factors and ways that you can lower your costs are, go ahead and change out your creative constantly, change out your copy, expand your audience targeting, change your objective. Look at things like your frequency score. If you've been showing the same ad over and over again to the same people, hey Lisa, hey Marvin, check that out. See, is the frequency right? Like, do I really need to be showing my ad 12 times in 7 days to these people? Probably not. It's probably a little high. You can probably save money there. Go into manual bidding. Start getting like super ninja with this stuff. You can do things like cap your bid. You can control your bid at the ad set level and say, hey, my goal is to get a cost per click under this amount, or a cost per purchase under this amount, or a return on ad spend at this amount. That's high level marketing there, okay? So that is my answer to how much do you need to spend on Facebook ads? Can you spend $5 a day? Sure. But what are you trying to sell? If you know that the average cost per purchase on Facebook for e-commerce in the US is going to be somewhere between $25 and $35 on average for about a $75 product or so, $5 a day, you're going to be waiting a while to get that to convert. Remember that, it's going to be hard for Facebook to convert that $5 a day. Can you do it? Can you test creative? Can you get some traffic going? Sure. But remember, like an average cost per click, it's for an actual conversion ad that you really want to get a purchase on, that's going to be around $1, give or take. And if your website, if you really think about the numbers and your website's converting at 3% right now, and you're not running ads because that's a warm audience, so they've already sought you out, they already want your product, so they're more likely to convert. And now you're running ads possibly to cold audiences who convert more like at 1%. That means, you're going to be spending $100 or more before you get a conversion from a cold audience. So all of these little factors need to be taken into account. I hope this was helpful. I hope this helped teach you how to lower your cost for Facebook ads and how much you need to spend on Facebook ads and how you can kind of calculate that backwards. It was so fun seeing everyone again today, saying hi real quickly, and I look forward to sharing more tutorials and trainings with you soon. All right.